Top 10 Z moves in Pokemon Sun and Moon, let's do it. Now this video will focus on the best status Z moves in the game because they're just absolutely insane. You're getting benefit on top of status, on top of insane strategy gains compared to the power offensive moves. You're just adding base power and then you don't get to do much afterwards. So this is where all the craziness is, and let's get right into it with number 10 on the list. Pain Split. So we all know what Pain Split does. Averages the hit points. Tanky Pokemon use it as a form of sustain if they don't have any other sustain, and then it also just deals damage while healing you. So that's good enough as it is, but then when powered with Normalium Z into Z Pain Split, defense goes up by 1 stage. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but there's a lot of dynamic play right here because the average Pain Splitter is going to be a bulkier Pokemon, and because of that you can go special defense investment, get that stat boost into defense, and now you're gaining defense while healing, while damaging the opponent, and if you're playing status as well, that's absolutely insane. I want to see more people try to run this. Now also, there's just a crazy amount of Pokemon that can get access to the Pain Split, mostly because of move tutors. Like, Rotom is filthy enough as it is, but could you imagine dealing with Rotom if it has a +1 to its defense while also Will-O-Wisping you and then shutting you down and then healing off of the Pain Split? So there's a lot of Pokemon that can get access to it. True, you are going to be giving up the leftovers, but the effective tankiness that you're gaining out of it could offset that, and then you're just making a tanky Pokemon tankier. So I think that there's a lot of potential, but also it's not the craziest status Z move out there, so maybe it'll get some more play, maybe it'll get some recognition. That's only why it's number 10 on the list. Number 9 on the list, Z Belly Drum. This is beauty. This is almost perfection inside of a Pokemon move, because whenever you Z Belly Drum, it's going to restore your hit points to full before Belly Drum takes effect. So that means you're at 50% hit points, you know you're getting off your Belly Drum, and then you get to do whatever you want. And if you're a slower Pokemon, then that means you don't have to worry about even taking any more damage. You survive the hit, you Z Belly Drum, and you play that consistency, which means Pokemon like the Azumarill, they just wreck into an Aqua Jet. Faster Pokemon like the Linoon or the Charizard can just straight up guarantee their setup and then go for some craziness. Then there's other Pokemon like the Chestnut. All it has to do is survive, get a Drain Punch, and then the day is done for the opponent right there. So I think that as an idea, it's awesome. It's exactly what Belly Drum needs. Now the main problem that we see here is that the actual Belly Drum Pokemon that are really competitively viable aren't a super high amount. I also don't see Z Belly Drum changing it. You can't really Z Belly Drum onto the Unburdened Slurpuff because your crystal isn't consumed, therefore you're not getting your Unburdened boost. So that kind of sets back what Slurpuff is capable of. And look at some of the other Pokemon, yeah, it's cool that they can do it now, and maybe with a little bit more reliability, but it's not going to make this Pokemon take off crazily. So it is number 9 on the list because it is kind of gimmicky, and it's not fully supported with all the Pokemon that can get Belly Drum, but it got exactly what it needed, so it does need some recognition on a list of best Z moves. Number 8 is going to be Z Detect. So yeah, you can actually protect yourself and then gain some kind of benefit. Well, what is the benefit going to be? Boost evasion. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. That you can just use your Z move, gain +1 to evasion, and then do whatever you want after that while also being safe. So this is going to be pretty much only for doubles, because it doesn't make a lot of sense doing it in singles. That, okay, protection in singles isn't as valuable for absorbing hits, and also you could just run double team instead, because it seems like there's a good mix of fast and not as fast Pokemon, so double team is effectively going to give you the same thing, then you can have an item and you don't need it. But I think that the evasion boosting needs a little bit of respect. It could probably show up at VGC and pull some shenanigans right there. You just randomly throughout the Z move, you absorb 2 of your opponent's hits, you kind of swing the battle, they miss the key move because that 1 evasion boost, and then you just kind of win off of that. So there's a lot of power and shenanigans that can happen right there, but again, it's kind of gimmicky, kind of niche, only a couple Pokemon get access to it, but at the same time, it's still pretty amazing. And now it's time for number 7 on the list, Switcheroo. So Switcheroo will raise the user's speed by 2 stages. Unfortunately, it's not going to do anything else. That since you can't really swap the Z Crystal, everything's just going to fail right there. But at least you're gaining those 2 stages. So a Pokemon that doesn't have a way of boosting speed can give it up for that Z move and then just kind of take it to the next level right there. So there is going to be a lot of speed boosting. I mean, a Delphox, any Pokemon that gets access to Switch, Trickaroo. Let's just add all of the speed boosting ones, because there's quite a few of them. As we can see, we have Ally Switch, Bestow, Me First, Recycle, Snatch, Switcheroo, and Trick. Snatch could be crazy. What if you snatch an opponent's Swords Dance and then gain +2 to your speed? That is a real possibility. There is so much setup going on right now. A Mimikyu comes in, you snatch the Mimikyu, and then you gain speed, and then you sweep with that. That is a possibility. Any Pokemon with the switcheroo, any Pokemon with the trick, you can just kind of go and take this if they don't have agility, if they don't have speed boosting, but they really need it, yeah, just +2. So there's going to be quite a few Pokemon that can take advantage of these moves right here. I think it just kind of adds to the craziness that, you know, you could Z me first and then guarantee a me first against the rest of your opponent's team. So it's kind of nifty right there, and just giving +2 speed to Pokemon that shouldn't have it could also be very powerful right there, so I think that that is certainly worth mentioning. Next up, we have Parting Shot. So now we're getting into the big boy moves. These are the status moves that you're going to see more often. I'm also going to put it with Memento because they effectively do the same thing. If powered up by Dark EMZ into Z Parting Shot, the Pokemon sent out to replace it has its hit points fully restored. This is so good. It gets plays in singles, it gets plays in doubles. You just kind of do what you need. Like, okay, I'm weakening the opponent. They lose 1 to their attack, 1 to their special attack, and that's going to be pretty solid. Like, a lot of people are using this on the Savali. I've even seen it on the Meowth because Alolan Persian doesn't need any benefit from an item. Maybe the Assault Vest, but just mostly going to run out there and foul play. So it doesn't need a damage boost. It's already fast enough. So you just run things down and then, oh, by the way, Z Parting Shot. That helps me out because I can come back in, fake out, go for foul plays, and then just kind of convert whatever I was doing. But you're also giving a free heal. That this is a healing wish inside of a Z move that doesn't make you sacrifice your own Pokemon. So it's pretty crazy. Same with the Memento. Now the Memento does give the sacrifice. That's a -2 attack, a -2 special attack to the opponent. So they're either forced to switch, stay in and die, to now your refreshed sweeping Pokemon that say they got a pretty big hit, that you kind of left it in, you played lazy, or just didn't have a good opportunity for one of your MVP Pokemon. Like, this could be your Mega Pokemon, this could just be your primary sweeper that's supposed to win all of your battles, and it just got a bad cut in the beginning of the game, or it just needs to have 2 health pools. You could do that, boom, bring it in, and then that's where the shenanigans begin. So Z Parting Shot, definitely very powerful right there. Next up, we have Z Splash. Z Splash is going to be on the list because it gives you +3 to attack. +3 to attack in 1 turn means you can just turn around and start smacking things around. So that's kind of all there is to say about it. You can do this to the Gyarados, and also there's a lot of other Pokemon that just get access to the Splash. I think Mimikyu is one of the Pokemon that's just been very surprising with it. Z Splash, and then it starts one-shotting things with a play rough. That's pretty serious to deal with. Also the Cosmog. Because Cosmog gets Splash, you evolve it into Solgaleo, and then Solgaleo now has an instant +3. That is devastating. That is terrifying. That is insane amounts of damage. And Solgaleo has the bulk and then just can convert it right there. So, yeah. There's a couple of crazy Pokemon that can get access to it, and then they just buff it off. Also, just the gimmick factor of it. Also, Z-Splash Serena. I've seen people talking about it. Lopunny's fast. It can do it and do some really fun things, so it's scary. You got power right here. And then you can also use it for gimmicks, you know? It's like, oh, you just, whatever Pokemon can evolve into it, whatever Pokemon can just suddenly become an attacker can do it. So that's what we're looking at right there. Like, people have run Jumpluff Swords Dance in the past, and now you can run it with a Splash. Just because. So Z-Splash, just an insane amount of power in 1 move. It started off as a joke. Splash is useless, and then it became one of the best. How crazy is that? Number 4 on the list is going to be Z Mirror Move. So this was one of the really surprising ones. Like, you're just looking at it standing out there, +2 to your attack when you use Z Mirror Move, and then you copy the opponent's move. So yeah, if powered up by Flying EMZ into Z Mirror Move, the attack raises by 2 stage. Additionally, the copy move will become the corresponding Z move. If the copy move is a status, it will not receive its Z power effect. So pretty much, you want to go and grab an offensive move, and then you're taking their move and turning it into a Z move. So more base power, more damage, while also gaining your attack stat before it applies. And the Pokemon that get access to it are very threatening. That we can mostly see Pokemon like the Swallow and Staraptor just run away with battles once they get that +2 to the attack, and then just go and take down everything while also converting it into damage. Like, Staraptor steals the move, KOs the opponent, done. Same with the Swallow. KOs the opponent, and now it just has insane amounts of speed. Dodrio can do this. A lot of Pokemon have access to the power right here, and if they grab the right moves and they get the right boost, like what if they steal a Flame Charge and grab extra speed, or they just have something behind it. So yeah, like that was one of the big surprising ones. I've seen a lot of mirror move sweeps already, so it's cool that the bird Pokemon are now getting like a bit of a lift right there. You know, that's the gust of wind that they needed to really take off and flight, and I think that's how you make wind-bird puns. But overall, it's pretty powerful, and I think it's one of the more surprising status Z moves out there. So number 4 on the list, like Blaziken. Pokemon Bank just came out. Wait until people start doing that. Oh, it's a swords dance while copying the opponent's move while also still having Z. Oh no, how come we haven't seen that yet? Oh, it's gonna be the next Fan Fridays, and it's gonna be absolutely disgusting. Oh my goodness. Okay, Z Hypnosis. Z Hypnosis is also a very terrifying one. Number 3 on the list. So we're in the big 3 right now. And Z Hypnosis, it just makes your heart break when you hear it. User speed stat increases by 1 stage. So, all of those Pokemon that were running Scarf, like Gardevoir, now don't need the Scarf, and that frees up the status slot on the Hypnosis. So pretty much, you're only running it for that speed boost, and it kind of doesn't matter afterwards, and then the 60% chance to put your opponent to sleep is just going to be a nice little after effect. Like I mentioned, Pokemon like Gardevoir are going to be absolutely nuts with it, that if you put your opponent to sleep, you get a Calm On. So you're getting special attack, defense, you have the +1 to speed, so you're going to be very hard to catch, and then the opponent's asleep for X amount of turns. So things get pretty bad right there. And then we can look at some of the other Pokemon like Xurkitree. Xurkitree breaks the game, because it's not allowed to have that high of a special attack stat, while also having a good speed, but gets +1 speed, and it doesn't have to Scarf. So that's some freedom right there. Ground-type Pokemon doesn't completely wreck its day. It can set up a Tail Glow. It's pretty much, if that Hypnosis lands, Xurkitree gets the Tail Glow, and then the battle ends. Ta-da! That's the magic trick right there. That's the true power of Hypnosis. Lunala can Z Hypnosis and become a sweeping legendary Pokemon and start to get kind of crazy. And it doesn't even need to land. I think that's the scariest thing. If Hypnosis lands, battle's over. If it doesn't land, battle could still be over. And I mean, Delphox could probably pick up with this. I haven't seen it happen yet. But with Pokemon Bank, maybe people will open up to the Z moves. Maybe they'll see this video and be like, yo, I want to give that a shot, and maybe things are going to be pretty crazy. So that is what I'm talking about. Number 2 on this list is going to be Z Conversion. So the only reason why Z Conversion is not number 1 on the list is because it's only used by 2 Pokemon, Porygon 2 and Porygon Z. I guess you could like Z Conversion Porygon in a little cup, or if you're just trying to troll your opponent or something. But you're going to see Porygon 2 get tankier, and you're going to see Porygon Z get more offensive, and it boosts every stat by 1. All of the user stats raised by 1 stage. That's the ultimate mind blow right there, guys. That Porygon Z, another Scarf Pokemon with high amounts of damage potential, well, now it's a Scarf plus a Specs at the same time, but it can freely choose its moves, and Porygon Z has some of the best coverage out there, that you can go with Stab Adaptability, you can also download Gamble for more damage, and then you just have whatever coverage you need to take out whatever Pokemon's going to be in your way. Porygon 2, it gets tankier, and then also has threatening amounts of damage, so Z Conversion on the Porygon, it's just devastating. If you don't stop it on that turn, or if you don't have a really good way of dealing with it with like a faster Pokemon that's Scarf, that can try to chip at it before you get one shot, yeah, the game can kind of end on a Porygon Z pretty quickly, and then you just Z Conversion last resort, and that takes out every Pokemon except for Ghost type. So, scary. Scary, big, and yeah, that's why it's number 2 on the list. But number 1 on the list is going to be the Z Stockpile. Now, I already know I'm going to get a lot of people mad at me because they're just like, oh, you're biased because you like Stockpile so much and you use Stockpile moves. But let's look at this objectively. Because Stockpile, with the Z move, heals you to full hit points. That's kind of nuts. That means Z Stockpile gives you +1 to defense, +1 to special defense, and full hit points. Not a lot can do that. And then when you look at the Stockpile Pokemon, not all of the Stockpile Pokemon have recovery. Most of them don't have built-in recovery because Stockpile is a very devastating move. And what you really need to do is Chesto Resto. So we can take something, for example, like the Chesto Resto Snorlax. So that's pretty much where the Stockpile is going to come into play. So like Munchlax, Stockpile, you evolve it, and that's how you get on Snorlax. But yeah, you want Chesto Resto. Well, replace Chesto Berry with Normalium Z. Chesto Berry gets consumed and doesn't matter anymore, but with the Normalium Z, you're also gaining defenses on that turn. So you're not resting. You're not going to be useless for that turn. But with this, you go 2 stockpiles, Z stockpile, full hit points, and now you have more defenses quicker while being at full hit points, just ready to smash your opponent into the ground. It works on pretty much all of the stockpilers as well, as long as they don't already have some built-in sustain, and a lot of Pokemon can really benefit from it. So you just pull out that Z stockpile, full health, all the opponent's hopes and dreams get crushed into the ground, and that is pretty much just how the battle ends right there. And it's just so demoralizing because stockpile at +2 is double your defenses, so they have to effectively kill you twice. But then after you do the healing, then they have to knock you out even more, and then if you get that third stockpile, that's even more defenses. You have to take out a tanky Pokemon effectively multiple times when it didn't even have sustain to begin with. So it is a very tricky thing to deal with, and I feel that it just has too many stats. It gives so much power into the Pokemon, and I love to see that the stockpile is getting respect that it deserves. Therefore, it is #1 on the list. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.